Being beautiful, rich, and famous doesn't guarantee a happy life or prevent a very tragic end. I'm Mel Z. I do deep dives into death, true crime, and weird pop culture stuff, so if you're a weirdo too, follow me. Dorothy Stratten was born in Vancouver, Canada in 1960. She grew up in a modest neighborhood and worked at Dairy Queen to help her single mom make ends meet. When she was 17, her beauty caught the eye of shady club promoter Paul Snider, who was 26. In 1978, Snider convinced Dorothy to have nude photographs taken, and they sent them off to Playboy. Because Dorothy was still underage, they had to convince her mother to sign the model release form. In 1978, Playboy's 25th anniversary issue was a great playmate hunt, and Dorothy and Snider moved to LA to have a go at it. Soon they were married, and Dorothy became Playboy's Miss August 1979 and started working as a bunny at the Playboy Club in Century City, LA. By 1980, she was crowned Playboy's Playmate of the Year. Her career was taking off. She was hanging out with Hollywood's elite and landing acting gigs. Behind the scenes, Snider was growing increasingly possessive and unstable. Their relationship was toxic. He was violent. She was scared of him and wanted to break free. She broke it off with Snider and started a relationship with filmmaker Peter Bogdanovich. If you don't know his films, you'll know him as Melfi's therapist in The Sopranos, like I do. Up until this point, she'd only had small roles in some TV shows, but now was cast in a leading role in a film that was being directed by her boyfriend, Peter Bogdanovich. In it, she would play the unhappily married love interest of John Ritter. Peter Bogdanovich had also written the screenplay and said that he wrote this story partially based on Dorothy's relationship with Snider and where Peter Bogdanovich fit into that relationship. With all of this happening, Snider was obviously losing his mind. Dorothy had decided that she wanted a divorce and was going through the process of getting that finalized. Snider had been stalking her throughout that summer. He'd shown up to where she was living with Peter Bogdanovich and sometimes had a weapon with him. He had been telling friends that he was having thoughts of suicide and was generally just becoming very unhinged. He had acquired a shotgun and reportedly had a conversation with multiple friends where he listed off past playmates who had died suspiciously or violently. On the afternoon of the 14th of August, 1980, Dorothy Stratten went to Paul Snider's house, her former house, where he lured her under the guise of settling the divorce once and for all. She had told a friend beforehand that she wanted to settle the divorce nicely and calmly, and that she even wanted to remain friends with him afterward. Crime scene detectives later said that it appeared that Dorothy had been at the house for approximately an hour and at some point was taken into his bedroom where he shot her and then himself about an hour later. Snider had two roommates who returned home at some point later in the afternoon and saw Snider's door closed and Dorothy Stratten's car in the driveway, assumed that they had reconciled and that they wanted their privacy. So they left them alone and just watched TV for about 5 hours. And then after a call from Snider's private detective, who was worried that he hadn't heard from him, the roommates went into the bedroom and discovered the bodies. Sometime after midnight, one of the detectives phoned the Playboy mansion where he spoke to Hugh Hefner and told him about Dorothy Stratten's murder. Hugh Hefner then called Peter Bogdanovich to tell him the news. Later that morning, her mother was informed by Vancouver police about her daughter's murder as well. Dorothy Stratten's body was cremated and her ashes are interred in Los Angeles.